correctly introducing Journey of Black and Red by McAnimus. A conversation with a handsome stranger leaves Ariane chained in a cellar with a strange affliction. She soon discovers that the darkness of the 19th century's deep south hides many dangers. Mages, wolf shifters and the humans who hunt them play a risky game where to stumble is to die, all under the amused gaze of the apex predators of the supernatural world, vampires. It is never healthy to attract the gaze of the aristocracy of the night. It takes much to survive in this merciless world, but Ariane will not let that deter her. The Southern Belle has a bite, and she is willing to learn and to grow in this hostile new world. She will use whatever means necessary to reclaim her freedom, be it guile, charm, or those intriguing new instincts that make blood so delectable. This is a story of vampires as I believe they should be, with their strengths and weaknesses, with their remnants of humanity and the beast inside. Chapter 1. Where am I? I take a deep breath in, which promptly turns into a coughing fit as I spit. Something on the ground. Disgusting. This is entirely too disgraceful. I hope there's no one around to witness my shame. The thought is born and dies in an instant. I struggle to remain calm, but I can already feel the onset of panic. I smell dampness, old stones, and rust. This is not my bedroom, nor is it any hospital I would be sent to. What has happened? I am lost. The stone bricks I can see through my waterfall of blonde hair are oddly well defined, as if the distance did not affect my sight. Darkness is now just deeper shade instead of an impenetrable veil. I can hear individual sounds of dripping water and groaning wood with perfect clarity instead of as background noise. The air smells of dampness and iron, and the taste on my tongue is as cloying as it is distracting. Every sensation is magnified, and each one catches my attention briefly before another one takes over in a disorienting dance. Soon, the sensory overload grows into a stabbing pain just behind my eyes. I feel sick. I need to understand. I take stock of my situation and shiver in fright. My wrists are shackled. My legs are on the floor, the skin scraped raw. I feel the coarse fabric of a simple tunic on my shoulders and, oh, I am not wearing undergarments. Someone may have seen me without. I cannot bear the thought. I twist a bit and feel wet hair plaster to my skull, falling to my shoulders. I see my legs, coming out of a rough piece of fabric. They're even paler than usual and dotted with red spots, which I realize is blood. The very same blood I spat earlier. I breathe deeper to control my fear. I shall not break down. I shall not scream. I am no tender flower from Charleston to faint at the mere sight of the crimson liquid. I am made from sterner stock. My fear does not recede, yet I am once more in control of myself. I do not know exactly the predicament I find myself in, but I know that panic shall not help. I will not succumb to it. Wary, I continue my inspection. Bare walls of the ubiquitous gray stone and a single massive door with a barred window. Is this a farce? I am in a dungeon. I must be dreaming. Yes, this is a dream and I am still asleep. Or perhaps I am quite mad, and this is one of those hospices I have heard so much about. And what is this? I am wearing rags. Even slaves would not wear such a thing. I swear, I will get to the bottom of this, or my name isn't. My name isn't. I am. Cannot focus. My thoughts are a jumble of impressions and emotions, of needs I do not understand. They slip away before I can grasp them fully. I shake my head and bite my lips to clear them, to no effect. Nothing works. I cannot recall my name. I must recall my name. Unbidden, my mouth opens and the sound escapes. Ariane. The pain. I bend forward as much as I can while my throat burns me. Soon, the agony extends to my stomach and tears me from inside. My mind blanks from the sheer intensity. This is 100 times worse than anything I have ever felt. God, please, make it stop. Make it stop. Someone, anyone. And it seems someone listened to my prayer. I can hear the clang of a door open far in front of me. 3 sets of footsteps approach. Faster, I beg you. Told you I heard something. Sun just set, so it's possible. Despite the lack of any light source, I can see with great clarity the face of my would-be savior, and now I know for sure that I am doomed. This man looks like a highwayman. Why, if I met him in the street, I would immediately flee and call for the nearest guard. He has unkempt black hair and a greasy beard that he must not have trimmed in months. Yet even then I could take him for a laborer were it not for a pair of insane blue eyes that freeze my very soul. The man smiles and displays a full set of uneven teeth. How very chilling. And yet I know with certainty that this man could help me, were I not stopped by a strange feeling. This man already belongs to someone else. And I would be better off not touching him. I know I should be curious, but the pain is making me dizzy. The second man is not white. He is not in like some of the coolies who help dig the train tracks, with the same golden skin and slanted eyes, and yet to compare them is to compare a Pomeranian with a wolf. His arms bulge with muscles, and his expression is fierce indeed. I can tell from his posture that he's a fencer, or a pugilist of sorts. He moves with the grace of a predator, and once again a strange feeling washes over me. I know with certainty that this man is dangerous beyond his appearance. He has a cold aura to him, and he cannot help me. The third man can. I feel joy and warmth fill my chest. Yes. This man is a captive like me, an adolescent with a lost look. He wears the clothes of a smith, or perhaps a cooper, and a thin chain hangs from his neck. He can make the pain stop. I just know it in my heart. And so, I move. And I stop. I look in confusion at my stretched arms, but of course, silly me. I am still in chains. Heavy locks of a silvery metal join my wrists to the wall in two taut lines. I am trapped. Wow. A feisty one, yeah? Come on, give her the boy. The Asian man frowns. Our eyes meet and there is a hint of sympathy in his rugged features. He pushes the young man towards me. My left hand brushes the boy's collar. Yes. Yes, finally, I am saved. I drag my hero closer and breathe in his neck. Oh, this delicate bouquet, like an exquisite wine from a perfect year, so rich and intoxicating. I am losing my mind. My canines brush his skin, pierce the flesh. Something thick and sweet brushes my tongue. The world explodes in ecstasy. I have no words. For an eternity, nothing exists. Nothing but heavenly pleasure that rolls and roils and boils and drowns. I die and I live again, and I die once more. The wave of felicity ravages my very being and shatters my psyche. If this is half as good as love-making, I understand women who find themselves with child out of wedlock. This is good enough to sell one's soul. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I wish it never stopped. Alas, at some point, it does. I do not know how long it takes, but when the tide recedes, I know peace and the certainty that all is right in the world. How peculiar. No amount of prayer has ever brought me to such heights. I am touching on the realm of the divine. I release the young man who flops on the ground. He can no longer help me, and worse, he smells terrible. The creepy man chuckles and drags the adolescent's chain to pull him out of my reach, as if I were an animal. How rude. I frown in disapproval. What? My voice croaks. What is the meaning of this? How I wish I could convey my outrage at being held like this. Not even a bucket of water, or a chamber pot. Am I to live like a beast? I do not want to think about it. I do not want to think about a great many things. The smaller, white man jumps in surprise, and even the Asian guardian lifts an eyebrow. What is wrong with them? Did they expect me to cower, to beg? Well, Milady, forgive this humble Bedouin, heh? Did not expect you to be so. I huff with impatience and address his companion. How about you, warrior, care to explain why I am being held so? While Bedouin is flustered, this one seems barely amused. It is for your own safety. My safety? I will be secure when I am unbound and at home, you rogue. What will it take for you to release me? Bedouin interrupts me, apparently miffed at being ignored. Don't you worry your cute little head, lady, you'll be released soon enough. I I want to go on, I want to extract information from the reluctant duo, but I feel so tired, so very exhausted. Torpor invades my limbs and makes everything so heavy. My eyelids slide down with the weight of an executioner's axe. It is summer at the plantation. Sugar canes raise from the red earth, lush and green, as far as my eyes can see. The relentless sun beats down on my shoulders with a weight that is almost physical. It would be unbearable but for a light breeze and the smell of the river. A massive blond man kneels in front of me. His knife slices into the flesh of the sugar cane until only a dripping sliver remains. His face is rugged and red and there are tangles in his blond beard, but I do not care. His shining blue eyes, which I inherited, look at me with all the warmth in the world. Try this, mon ange, I don't wanna. It's dirty. Try it to make Papa happy. Allez. D'accord. I take it with a tiny hand and bring it through my lips. It is strangely fibrous and at the same time, sweet and juicy. See? Your Papa knows best. That's why you should have listened, mon ange. I told you to always wear your hat outside because it is so hot when the sun is out. But did you listen? Oh no, you didn't. And now, you burn. Flames erupt from the flesh of my hand, I scream and scream, and I try to stop them, but my other arm catches fire and it spreads all over me. It hurts so much. Blackened meat cracks to reveal tarnished bones. My hair combusts. Nothing stops the raging inferno. I beg the darkness to take me and eventually, it does. I awaken in the same gray cell. There is no sign of the captors or anyone else. I feel odd. There is a part of me that fights and rebels and tries to make me question my circumstances. I am aware that there have been inconsistencies in, well, everything, and yet I find it hard to focus. Like a patient in the claws of high fever, my grasp on reality is tenuous and uncertain. No matter how hard I try to focus, I am only afforded bits of lucidity. I remember a nightmare. I remember yesterday. I remember my name. What was it again? Ariane. Yes, my name is Ariane, although I must be honest and state that it is merely a praenomen. Using my voice helped. I shall endeavor to do so again. My name is Ariane. I am 19. I am of age to be married. I have suitors. I think. I come from. 2 city names come to mind, one is Baton Rouge, and it gives a homey feeling. The other is New Orleans, and it feels more exciting but also tainted. I cannot finish the sentence. I feel myself drifting into apathy, and I cannot let that happen, so I force myself to press on. I what? I have a family. Yes, I know this is right. I try to recall the man from my dream, his smile, and happy looks, but his image blurs and another one replaces him. The second man is terrifying. I remember a cruel smile and doll-like eyes that mirror a soul as black as the night. My musings stop when the same craving comes over me. My throat is parched. It is only natural as people need to drink quite a bit of water every day. I remember stories of sailors going mad when deprived of it, their sanity robbed as they suffer surrounded by a liquid they cannot ingest. I am sure someone will come. If they wanted me dead, it would have already happened. Time passes with agonizing slowness. My thirst grows so much that I start moaning. My teeth bite painfully into increasingly dry lips. The only saving grace is that after 2 days I haven't had to go to the well. This is embarrassing and queer. How come I have had no need to visit the what? A distant clang interrupts my thoughts, whatever they were. I have already forgotten. 3 sets of footsteps again. I wonder how I can tell with such accuracy, but, well, it does not truly matter. They soon stop and yesterday's Asian man gives me a passing glance before opening the door. He steps in and stands aside with the dignity of a British royal guard. The second visitor is a woman out of a fairy tale. Truly, if anyone had described her to me, I would have called them a liar, and yet here she stands. Tall and lithe, her slender body is clad in a blue gown that would be the envy of King William's court. It suits her form perfectly and manages to be enticing without being vulgar, which, given her silhouette, is quite an achievement. Her skin is as white as alabaster and her face is the very image of grace and majesty. Black curls fall with restraint from an elaborate hairdo and encase two striking green eyes, bright as emeralds. Why, if my mouth were not so dry, I would be gawping like some country bumpkin right about now. The same cold aura that encases the Asian man also comes from her, and yet I hesitate to compare them as she seems in a class of her own. If the man's is a drum, the woman's is an orchestra. The pressure it gives off terrifies me to my core, and I do not think that demanding anything of her would be a good idea. I turn to the last to enter, a man, and I am immediately in love. He is tall and incredibly handsome, like a legendary king of old. Brown curls and brown hair adorn a skin lightly kissed by the sun. His build is powerful, but it is not the solid weight of the farmer. It is the deadly grace of the duelist. I feel like I am kneeling before Achilles, or Romulus, such is the presence of this man. I just know he is the one for me. His aura is less cold and somehow familiar, so powerful and yet restrained. I bask in his presence as a strange warmth grows in my belly. Oh, the shame. Am I to be swayed so easily by somebody I just met? I must not. And yet I know that if this man touches me, I will be undone. I forget my thirst. I forget my discomfort. If he but takes me in his arms, I can die with no regrets. His spawn could communicate, agate, and yet. I blink and realize that the noble lady is talking to the Asian man, agate apparently. What is most curious is that they do not speak English. This language of theirs is mostly sing-song vowels and soft consonants with the occasional guttural sound. I am sure I have never heard anything quite like it, and yet I can understand it. I assure you that she spoke, Lady Moore. I must have daydreamed again. This lack of attention is so taxing, and now my love must think me daft. I must give my best impression so that he becomes mine forever. I turn to him and use a lull in the conversation, or should I say the harsh reprimand, to address him. Greetings. All eyes fall on me. No, that is not quite right. If I speak English now, they will not think of me as worldly. Greetings, lady and gentlemen. My name is Ariane. May I ask yours? There, concise and polite. My voice cracked mid-sentence. I am filthy and dressed in rags that an orphanage would not take, but my manners remain impeccable. The woman scowls and displays such intense disgust, one would think I am drenched in manure. Without a word, she turns around and leaves the room while covering her nose with a perfumed handkerchief. I would blush in shame and anger if it were not for the man. He kneels in front of me and I lose myself in the intensity of his liquid eyes. He is smiling, he must be. He is proud of me, I think. No, he is smug. No, he is proud of me. He loves me and only wants the best. I love him. I do not. He hurt me. I love him, and he will be mine forever. The comfortable blanket settles on my mind until only adoration remains. I wait with bated breath for a sentence, a word, anything, until I can't anymore. I move. Once more, the chains block me, my face only a few fingers away from the golden skin of his neck. I strain and stretch and the metal moans, but, of course, I am too weak to break free. I am only human after all. I cannot bend metal. Can I? The man captures my attention and the thirst fades away for a while. The fragrance of his perfume makes me dizzy and at the same time, safe. I am where I belong. By his side. Yes. No. Yes. He places a single finger under my chin to raise my head until our eyes are level. The touch of his skin sends tiny shivers down my back. You will address us as master. Yes, master. You will speak only when spoken to. I nod in silence. Of course, I will do as he asks. You will obey the woman known as Hermina in all things. You will behave properly. Do so, and in 3 days you may draw our essence, and live. I nod frantically. I want to say that I will be good, but I hesitate to talk. The man is done and stands back up before turning to Agate. Oh, how I loved it when he was so close. It was everything I expected. It is everything I could dream for. Why is my fledgling still in a drone cell, Warden? Agate's bow is almost servile, which should be odd on such a man, and yet how can I blame him? Who could stand before this man and call themselves his equal? Surely, even Alexander and Scipio Africanus would find themselves wanting. The man exits the cell without a look back. Why did he leave me so? I love him so much, surely, he must see it plainly. I am the one for him. Or am I simply not good enough? Is a landed lady from Louisiana perhaps too rustic for his tastes? Perhaps I should gut that green-eyed painted harlot and strangle her with her own entrails. Wait. What was I thinking again? I can hear a keening whine and soon realize it is coming from my throat. Oh. I need to get a hold of myself. What is wrong with me? A strange Asian man approaches me with a silver key. Ah yes, Agate. He was here earlier. He is to take me out of the cell and... Do what? Ah yes, I finally remember. I am to obey that wonderful man. My love. No, abomination. Love. I remember his orders. I am to remain silent unless spoken to. I am to obey him in all things. I am to behave properly. I will do so, since he asked this of me, and he is so irresistible. I just hope there will be something to drink. I am dying of thirst. Ah! I cry. The manacles drop on the ground with a surprisingly loud clang and take with them a layer of skin. I look at my now free wrists. The horror. I am flayed. The flesh is raw and thick with black blood. Convinced I am about to retch, I move forward and yet, nothing happens. I do not feel nauseous at the sight of those unsightly wounds. They are most certainly infected and will quite likely scar. Oh, the humanity! Shall I have to bear the stigma of my captivity for the rest of my life? Come out, slowly. I take a staggering step forward. I feel weak and lightheaded. I pray they have water somewhere. Chapter 2. I seethe. The Asian man stares at me with a mixture of disgust and caution, and I cannot help but feel offended. Of course, I would not look proper dressed in rags and filthy like a coal merchant. The audacity of my captors is simply incredible. I finally leave my cell to the side of a short corridor of the same stone. A single torch provides enough illumination to see everything clearly, which surprises me a bit. The passage is dotted with what I believe to be murder holes. How very quaint. I must have collapsed and been magically transported to some Scotsman's domain. Agate locks the door behind me and I move forward, quite eager to be away from this dreary place. As I am about to reach the second door, the naked blade of a saber taps my shoulder. Hold. Move to the side. I turn around with outrage, although I remain silent. How dare he draw a blade on me? The master said I was to obey him and he is not her. He has no right to give me orders. I will teach him the meaning of pain and... A hand grabs my raggedy shirt and propels me into the wall. He threw me like a doll. My back hits the rock and explodes in blinding pain. My head follows suit and my teeth rattle from the impact. Agony radiates in every bone, only exacerbating the discomfort I am already in. Ah! His hand drills my chest in the wall. My bones creak and groan under his abuse. I frantically scratch his arms so that he lets me go, but I stop when I feel a metallic cold against my neck. I will have no attitude from you, fledgling. There are red spots on his sleeve. It seems that, in my panic, I scratched him bloody. My nails are dark as black pearls, and quite sharp to boot. When did it happen? The blade of his weapon leaves my neck and its tip buries under my chin until I start yelling. Oh God, what have I done to deserve such treatment? Why must they be so cruel? It hurts. Do I make myself clear? Yes. I whimper. How I hate to debase myself, but what can one do against such wanton brutality? Slowly, the man lets me go, although his blade remains drawn. I stay still and massage my poor chest. Terror starts creeping into my mind and awakens primal instincts. I want to run, but I cannot. The door is locked. I do not even know where to go. Agate patiently works a set of keys and I finally walk out to another stone tunnel. This one, however, is different. It appears that my jail is but one of many. Several blocks made with thick walls cover most of the area, lit by the occasional torch. Each cell has 4 walls and a passage that would allow the wardens to circle it completely. The murder holes I noticed let visitors look inside the corridor and, I assume, shoot through them as well. I do not know what manner of beast is normally held here, but I would complain about being treated that way, were it in my power to do so. The Asian man guides me through the labyrinth of passages to a massive door made of the same silvery metal as my shackles. He pushes it open with little effort. How strong can this man be? I walk up a set of stairs to several landings with more doors, but Agate does not let me stop. Eventually, we cross one last metal gate and finally emerge into a proper building. And what a building it is! I want to take a deep breath and celebrate being out of this accursed hole in the ground, yet I find myself at a loss. Who in their right mind would spend the fortune required for something like this? A hallway spreads to my right and left to an intersection and a dead end, respectively. Closed doors alternate with subdued alcoves supported by Doric columns. The ground is made of marble and the walls of pink granite. Tapestries and paintings hang everywhere, leaving an impression of subdued elegance. Never in 1,000 years would I suspect that such a place exists in the Americas. I believe I would need to cross the Atlantic, to Buckingham or Versailles, to find a match for this gaudy display. And the owners of this place have me at their mercy. I shiver once more. I thought I had seen wealth, how naive I was. These people are no rakes and outlaws out for a quick ransom and a ride west. Why, were I to escape and come across a lawman, who would he believe? A filthy way for the masters of this place? My testimony would be the ramblings of a maidwoman. What have I gotten myself into? The excitement offered me a moment of clarity, as if external stimulus could lift the veil upon my mind, but soon enough, I find it hard to focus again. Why did I want to escape? I want to see that man again. It is my heart's fondest desire. Agate leads me up another set of stairs and down another corridor. We come across a man in a suit that would leave him drenched in sweat if he were to step outside, a pair of women in maid outfits who exude a pleasant smell, and a slip of a girl in a white dress. Every time we pass someone, Agate holds my neck and forces my head down so that I cannot meet their eyes, not that I need much encouragement. My embarrassment is reason enough. Finally, the warden leaves those endless alleys and forces me into a bedroom. Before I can even start to panic, he bids me to get cleaned and slams the door shut. Once again, I take stock. The room itself is rather small, which is only sensible as there are so many of them. It is also lavishly decorated in shades of red and gold. Whoever designed the Baroque hall was clearly extended his influence on my new lodgings. The bed has 4 posters and takes the entire middle of the room with a writing desk and a chair lining the side wall. The living space is partitioned by white panels and I find a copper tub on the other side, as well as amenities and another surprise. This place has hot running water. I prepare a bath and rid myself of that vile potato bag I was wearing to slide in the bath with a sigh of pleasure. I do not know if I should attribute how I feel to my previous ordeals or the state of my body, but the very act of washing myself has never been so pleasant. Water caresses my skin with its silky touch as the heat of the liquid seeps into me, to my delight. I could almost forget how thirsty I am. Oh, how silly, there is now water to be found. What was I waiting for? I bring the warm liquid from the tap to my lips and take in a hasty gulp, and I know without a doubt that, unfortunately, it will not do. How strange. Is it the symptom of some disorder? Well, I will think upon it later. When did my skin turn so white? Summer reached Louisiana a few weeks ago and I remember a light, but distinct tan, and yet now I look as pale as a Canuck. My nails are also black and quite sharp, which I cannot explain. One more mystery to add upon the pile. Or perhaps I should realize what I have become, why I do not feel hunger? Wait, there are more urgent matters to attend. I must be presentable. If that warden comes in while I am still undressed, I shall surely die of embarrassment. There is only so much humiliation a proper lady can tolerate in a single day. I scrub myself vigorously and enjoy every moment of it. After drying myself, I find undergarments and a simple linen dress on the desk, which I promptly don. They do not fit me exactly and are a bit tight around the waist, and yet I find I care little. It feels so nice to be decent again, and the sensation of soft fabric on my skin is simply divine. I luxuriate in it until I am disturbed by an insistent knock. I open the door to see two men outside. A guy stares me down without emotion, the other man is younger and dressed as a servant. My thirst surges at the scent of him. Such an intoxicating perfume. Before I can lean forward, a guy's hand grabs my neck once more. Ah! Must this man irritate me so? I want to claw him apart like the cur he is. Fledgling. I force myself to swallow. I do not want a repeat of the cell scene. Those ruffians made it clear they would resort to violence given the opportunity. Except that handsome gentleman, of course. You will cease when ordered. The servant looks at me with undisguised fear. His chocolate eyes are fixed on my smile as he starts blabbering in some unknown language I care not about. His attempt at retreating is stopped by the warden's steel grip on his neck and only serves to whet my maddening thirst. It bites into my chest and drills into my mind, demanding satisfaction. Nothing matters but that merciless craving. How peculiar, the sight of a terrified man makes me giddy? And even more thirsty? This abduction has made me a monster. What? No, this ordeal made me a little bit hysterical. Yes. Just a little tense. Nothing to it. I chuckle as I grab the man firmly between my arms, and then as he vainly tries to push me away. I am still laughing when his eyes meet mine and grow unfocused. I sigh as I take in the musk of his terror, with just a touch of desire. Scrumptious. I smile as my fangs puncture the skin of his neck and I can finally, slake this godforsaken thirst. Rapture, again. I am transported, I am ravished, I am undone. If there is one way to transcend time and space, this is it. No dervish and no prophet, no shaman and no mage would come close to this divine experience. Not with all the incense and prayers of the world. I love it, love it, love it. A piercing pain brings me back into the real world. The warden's clawed fingers dig into the muscles of my neck, forcing my jaw open inch by inch. The young servant is dragged away, still mesmerized by God knows what. New fledgling. I swallow as the pain turns my vision wide. I stop moving. This is just too much. You will lick the wound closed. Do it now. With the tip of my tongue, I manage to clean the precious nectar from the young man's skin even as the trickle stops. I waste not a drop. Eventually, Agate pulls him away further and he collapses against the wall in a daze. The expression on his face is content, for some unknown reason. I, however, am not. I need more. Much more. I cry. Agate's hand does not relent. His other arm, now free, forces my own in a lock behind my back. I arch myself to prevent the agony from becoming too much. I barely struggle against his hold. My frustration is no match for the constant pain and the prospect of dislocation. The horrible thirst finally abates. It retreats into the recess of my mind like a wary tiger, pacified but not gone. I am myself again. Wait, what just occurred? I cannot recall. Something to do with nourishment. Agate pushes me away and I fall on the bed. With a yelp and scramble, I am upright again. I am not so innocent as to not understand the implication of being in a bedroom with a man, and the warden makes me wary. Fortunately, my apprehension was unfounded this time. Agate bends to the servant to, I assume, check on his well-being. Apparently satisfied, he stands back up and bids me follow him. We leave the room, and I do my best to keep up with the tall stranger. Torpor once more makes my limbs heavy and my mind weary, yet I refuse to yield. We descend back to what I assume is the ground floor, and shortly reach a thick set of gates made out in the essence of wood I do not recognize. Agate opens one with ease and shoves me in. The room I find myself in is, without a doubt, a training room. It is an extremely wide rectangle surrounded by an unadorned wall of grey stone. Racks of weapons line my left, targets my right, and the far wall is adorned with benches. I am surprised to see that the ground is stone covered by a layer of sand, reminding me of this illustration of the Colosseum I once saw in a book. Why, if a lion and a gladiator were to strut into the sound of a brass horn, I wouldn't even bat an eye. The only person present besides us is a woman with black curls tied in a bun. I cannot decide whether she shocks me or impresses me more. Her face is handsome, rather than beautiful due to an unfortunately squarish jaw, and yet she exudes an aura of gentle grace that is only enhanced by a scandalously fitting leather armor. Her appearance makes me once again question my sanity. I know that Napoleon's cuirassiers would ride into battle with a steel breastplate, but she looks more like a poacher than a soldier, and besides, the gentler sex should not dress so, it is just not proper. She ignores us as we approach until there can be no doubt that we come to address her. With a frown, she sets the blade she had been cleaning and turns to us. Her cold aura is as strong as a goddess, yet more refined, and I believe she is one of them. I believe it is the source of her self-confidence. Is she an Amazon, to stand here before that man without fear? I surmise that some horrible accident befell me, and I am now in the thrall of some potent concoction that causes me to hallucinate. Squire. Courtier, she replies with a sneer. There is a flash of anger on Agate's twisted face, quickly hidden. You are to induct this fledgling while her master attends to the important matter of the conclave. What kind of master would bring a fledgling here? Is she so flawed that she cannot be left unattended? You may relay your concerns to Lord Nirari. I am sure he will be delighted to hear your objections, Squire. The order is passed. I bid you farewell. And with this, Agate turns around and leaves us both stranded. I harbor some hope that this person would take pity in my plight, but those expectations are too soon dashed. The disgust on her face reminds me of Lady Moore's, only hers is laced with fury. I instinctively take a step back. A sense of danger dissipates my lethargy, and I realize that the warden set the stage masterfully so that there is no chance that I would find a friend here. I still do not understand what is happening. My mind is barely working. I am a woman playing an intricate card game without having been taught its rules, and I am even forbidden from asking for help. The woman seems to resolve herself to the situation and gestures me to join her next to a rack. I gaze at rows upon rows of medieval weapons, including some that must have come from barbarian kingdoms. Never have I laid my eyes on so many bladed, pointy and blunt instruments, coming in all shapes and sizes. One is just a chain, with a blade at the end, and I simply cannot fathom how that could be a sensible weapon. We both stop and she looks at me expectantly. I have no idea what to do. Does she expect me to pick a weapon myself? Well, I feel panic rising into my chest. Eager not to displease the harridan, I desperately look for something to defend myself, and I find it. I grab it and hold it protectively before me. That is a shield. I nod in approval. Obviously, it is. Are you provoking me, fledgling? Can you even talk? Yes, sorry, yes I can talk, and no I am not trying to provoke you. And what, pray tell, can you wield? I do not remember much, but I do know for sure that my father, yes, my father, whose very face I cannot recall, would have never allowed me to take up fencing. Wielding a blade is so unladylike. Louisiana is already the dumping ground for France's debtors, whores, and scoundrels. There is no need for us Londoners to act as savages as well. With that said, I did hunt for fur and meat, and there are enough escaped slaves to make leaving the plantation without weapon a foolish endeavor. I am a good shot with a flintlock rifle. The woman's face turns into a mask of rage. She grabs me by the collar and in a seamless gesture, throws me across the room. My mind blanks. The world turns and twists before my eyes. I land, painfully, on my shoulder, and still I slide on the ground. Eventually, I stop against the machine. A second later, I hear the crash of my shield against a distant wall. Pain steals my breath away. I cannot think. It hurts. Ah! I do not know how much time I spend here, sobbing hunched on myself. Everything hurts. I am so tired, and I am still thirsty. Why? Why? Something cold pokes my ribs painfully. I open an eye to see that evil hag looking down. She uses a dull training sword as a poker. Oh, why must she be so cruel? Well, fledgling, let me see you fire that rifle of yours. What are you waiting for? And she stabs me. The tip of the sword pierces into my chest, not enough to kill me but enough to hurt. This new agony only adds to the old one and I go over the edge. I cannot do this anymore. Their cruel games, their pointless aggression, their cold demeanor. I did not ask to be here, ridiculed and humiliated at every turn. Abused. Tortured. And for what? What sinister game are they all playing, that they do not deem me even worthy of knowing the rules? I just want it to be over. I just want to die. Papa, please come save me, I can't take this anymore. And so, I bawl like a baby. Sobs rack my body and tears stream down my face. I wait for the armored hellion to continue her abuse, crying all the while, and yet it does not come. A pair of hands picks me up gently and sets me against the stupid mannequin. I keep my eyes closed in terror. A finger brushes my chin and holds my face up. After a few seconds, I dare open my eyes. The woman's face is frighteningly close to mine. She stares at my cheeks with wonder. Fledgling, I have a request. Huh? Can't I please lick your tears? Huh? Is this woman entirely insane? This request is completely senseless. And yet, there is suddenly a longing on her face so powerful and so pure that my breath catches in my chest. Please, I beg you. My instincts tell me that she speaks the truth, as unlikely as it seems. It is also very surreal that I find myself speechless. Is this the same person who tossed me across the room like a rag doll? I must decide, and against my better judgment, I agree. I close my eyes as she slowly leans forward. A cold slip moves across my skin and I force myself not to yelp. This new sensation is so strange, and yet so intimate that I dare not move. The cold tongue traces the other side of my face. Immediately, I hear a gasp and a sob. I open my eyes once more to witness a spectacle that defies common sense. The woman, whose posture had been so flawless before, is now sobbing before me. A pink tinge colors her, and as I watch she slowly collapses forward. A protective impulse guides my left hand to the back of her head. I pat it in a soothing gesture. Her black curls are the softest thing I have ever touched. She tenses, at first, but soon she leans into my gesture and for a moment, we just lie here. My pain fades away quickly. Was I wounded? No, probably not. I let my arm fall. This feels so delightful. I believe I may just fall asleep right now. I blink. The Amazon is looking at me with her usual frigid mask. Have I dreamt the whole encounter? Surely not. Why, her skin is still rosy. Fledgling. I gulp in fear. Do you know who I am? I shake my head, too scared to cause another bout of mindless rage. I am Jimena, squire of Clan Cadiz and quartermaster for this underkeep. Can you understand anything I said? You are Jimena. She sighs and pinches the bridge of her nose. How old are you, exactly? I am 19. She frowns. I had not heard about Lord Nirari siring a fledgling, especially not one that could talk. What has he taught you then? Who? Lord Nirari, your master. I do not know that man. What do you mean? You are his. I saw your fangs. I silently gape at the woman. Fangs. Master? I am dealing with a raving lunatic. Unless. No. Jimena looks at me in utter disbelief. Did you happen to meet a tall man with brown eyes and brown hair recently? Dark, imposing? And incredibly handsome, I reply with a dreamy voice. Yes, and he did tell me to call him master. Is his name Nirari? Yes, and when, exactly, did you see him first? Why, this very morning, in my cell. Jimena appears increasingly agitated, and I still cannot say whether I am mad, or she is. At the very least I learned the name of my kill. My master. Nirari. Such an exotic name. Perhaps one day it can be mine as well. Fledgling? I need you to tell me the truth. Oh, I will. The master told me to obey you in all things. I see. Well, please do tell, is your earliest memory of that very same cell? Yes. Oh my gee. I cough, my throat suddenly obstructed. Jimena winces in sympathy. Yes. I woke up there yesterday. Or at least I think it was yesterday. It is hard to tell the passing of the time without sun or the clock. Yesterday. Yesterday. Yes? And you feel as if your mind fails you, as if your memories were hidden behind a veil? Yes. Finally, someone who understands my plight. Oh, I could cry in relief. Instead of answers though, Jimena just stands and starts pacing. Is it some sort of affliction? Yes. Yes, it is. You will also notice the paleness, the sharp nails. And the thirst. Does it get better? Jimena stops pacing and stares into the distance. No. No, it does not. I wait patiently for her to elaborate. I can learn more about my circumstances from her, provided I do not agitate her further. I hope she hurries, as I find myself more and more eager to return to my bedroom. Perhaps there I shall find something to drink. What is your name, do you remember? Yes. Ariane. Well met, Ariane. Has Lord Nirari mentioned a ceremony? He said that if I do well, I may draw his essence in 3 days and live. Jimena mutters to herself, and I unfortunately manage to hear what she says. The woman can swear like a sailor. Well, young Ariane, you find yourself in a delicate situation. However, you gave me something quite rare, and something that can only be gifted, not taken. Powerful emotions are such a precious thing. For that, I am grateful and shall endeavor to assist you. She helps me up. You are afflicted, yes, and I am sorry to say that there is no cure. What? I have never heard of such a disease. And is that why I am your captive? Because of this condition? Indeed. You may consider the veil over your mind as a sort of anesthetic that will shield it during the transition. But I don't want to. Shh, she says, 'tis a terrible thing, I know, yet you are still Ariane. Always remember, that you are still your own. Why yes, I am Ariane. I am my own. I stagger forward. Ah, you must be exhausted. Rest on my shoulder, that I may guide you to a room. Chapter 3. My best friend locks arms with me as we walk the streets of New Orleans. Already the sun creeps past the horizon and the dying light paints the cobblestone red. How daring we are, 2 young women, out with no chaperons. It is so good that you came, amiga, for alone I would never have dared. Think nothing of it, Constanza. I have a good reason to attend this ball as well. It is said that Lady Lemoyne opened a distillery in Haiti and has an eye for business. It is truly fortuitous that she is there tonight, and I would be unwise to miss such an occasion. Blonde locks brush my shoulder and I find myself staring into a pair of laughing chestnut eyes. Ah, my poor Ariane, is it always business with you? You should keep an eye open for a husband instead. Then he can open that distillery you crave, while we spend our days in merriment. PSSSH. Licentious woman, you shall not tempt me so. And besides, men cannot be trusted. Even Papa said so. Ah, amiga, your Papa is not here tonight, and truly I understand now, that I have to find you suitors of a more mature kind. Whatever do you mean? Ha ha ha, fret not, amiga, and look. Here is a new contender. I follow my best friend's direction to the entrance of the manse, only to recoil in terror. In front of the double door stands a monster out of the grisliest tale. It stands taller than any man. Its skin is white as the moon and it is completely hairless. Eyes the color of the abyss drill into my soul. I want to run. I try to run but I am paralyzed. My best friend holds my arm in a death grip. A deep gash mars her pretty face and her eyes take on a mad glint. No, do not leave, he is the one just for you. A perfect match, for one who tries to reach above her station. I cannot move, I cannot even blink. I am forced to watch as the monster steps closer. It grabs my head and exposes my throat. The last thing I see are 8 merciless fangs. I wake up in a bedroom that is not my own. Memories slowly come back to me and I find myself in a turmoil. I have some hope now that I found an ally in Jimena, and yet I have little doubt that she speaks the truth. I am indeed afflicted by some unknown condition. The realization almost crushes my spirit, and for a while, I sit under the velvet canopy, too stunned to move. It does not last though, for Jimena bids me join her and I must obey. I stand and make myself ready. The ill-fitting dress I wore yesterday is still clinging to my body. A few drops of blood have stained the front and back, yet I do not recall being wounded. Curious. This specific guest room is similarly equipped as the previous one, so I quickly take another bath after making sure the door is locked. It takes all my willpower not to luxuriate in the sensual feeling of warm water on my skin, despite how thirsty I am. After drying myself, I find that someone left the strange-looking gray ensemble by the entrance. I put it on. To my surprise, it is extremely comfortable, with the notable exception of the area around my posterior, which is too tight. Nevertheless, it does not limit my range of movement in any way. What a great find. Oh, if only I could wear this in polite society, but it has trousers, and this simply will not do. Difficulty strikes when I try to sort the bird's nest that my hair has become. There is not a mirror in sight. How do they expect a lady to show her best without a mirror to attend to herself, I wonder? Does Lady Moore? Oh. She probably has servants of some sort. Fortunately, my hair easily parts under my talons' fingers, and I believe I am at least somewhat presentable. They do not expect me to appear in polite society in any case. With everything done, I leave. Fortunately, it does not take me long to find the training room. I take the stairs down and wander a bit until I find the double doors. During this, I only come across one maid who avoids my eyes as she rushes by. She has an enticing scent, but I do not let it distract me. I am, after all, expected. I only hope that Jimena has something to drink, this thirst is killing me. I find her at a table, cleaning an elaborate fencing foil. Next to her is a short and stocky woman in a peasant dress. She has short black hair and stares at me with a frown and worried black eyes. As I come closer, I realize she smells divine. Why, I just cannot stop myself. Jimena halts me with a hand on my shoulder. Oh, sorry, where are my manners? Good morning, Jimena, and you as well, madam. It is morning, isn't it? Jimena returns my greeting with a nod and a smile. Not quite. This is Ainsa, she is a retainer for the Cadiz clan. Oh, greetings, Ainsa. The woman does not answer. Instead, she nervously swallows, and I find myself fascinated by the movement of her neck. Such a pretty neck, so very fetching. Ariane. HM. I need your attention. Look at me. I turn to her and realize she is much closer than I am comfortable with. She takes my hands in hers. Her skin is soft and cool. Do you want to get closer to Ainsa? Yes. Are you feeling thirsty? Yes, quite so. It is almost unbearable. Close your eyes. Good. Now, I want you to think about a place where you are safe. The safest place you know. But I do not remember my past. Your mind does not, but your heart can. Do you remember what I told you yesterday? I am mine. I will always be mine. Good. Let your heart speak, Ariane. You are safe. You can see around you. What do you see? I don't know. I am so very thirsty. I just need a few drops from dash. No. Stop. Good. It will work better because you are thirsty. Now, try again. At first, I find the entire exercise silly. Why, it feels like one of these hogwash meditation exercises those charlatans claim can cure blindness. Jimena, however, does not relent. She guides me with a soothing voice. When the thirst becomes too much, she grabs my neck in a firm hold and it helps me remain in control. Eventually, I feel it. On the edge of the sugar-cane fields stands a log cabin. It is barely large enough for a single bed, a chest and a small fire pit. It was never meant to be lived in. It is merely a shelter, unadorned and unpolished. The only thing that matters is that it is safe. I drag myself up on the straw mattress. It smells like soap and sunshine, and I know I can wait here for him to return. A cool wind rustles the trees outside and carries the smell of rain on fresh soil. Now that the weather is better, he will come back shortly and hopefully bring me something to drink. In the meanwhile, I will just hug Mr. Scruffy Bear. Mr. Scruffy Bear is such a gentleman. Good. Now, does it not smell so nice? Yes. Good, now lick it. I'll lick something exquisite. It must be the world's very best bonbon. Someone moans in pleasure, and I know I should be shocked but cannot make myself care. Good, it will turn the pain to pleasure, and now, just follow your instincts. I bit down delicately. Something soft and warm parts under my teeth like the sweetest of fruits, and once again the delicious nectar comes to sate the thirst. Rapture. It is so good, so very good. And yet, it feels duller, somehow. It does not compare to before. There is a partition between the feeling and me. I am enjoying myself, but part of me also sits in the bed of my cabin with Mr. Scruffy Bear. Slow down and listen. I can hear mostly two things. The first is a woman moaning most shamefully. I am not too naive not to understand that she... I cannot even make myself finish the thought. The second is a heartbeat, and it has been beating increasingly faster. The heartbeat is too fast. When it is so, you must stop. Stop now. I do so immediately. The thirst has abated enough that the urge is no longer so pressing. I also remember my master's instructions. I must obey Jimena in all things. Excellent. Now lick the wound clean. I do so. I am overcome by a feeling of strong intimacy, and were it not for my strange state, I believe I would be blushing. A moment later, I open my eyes. Jimena is holding Ainsa and a Princess Carrie. I dare not mention how inappropriate this all is, not to mention Ainsa's rosy cheeks. Why, if someone were to come right now, I would surely die of embarrassment. Ariane. Yes? HRM. Do you know what just happened? You told me to find a safe place, which I did, and then... I frown in confusion. What happened then? I cannot seem to recall. I do not remember. Is it this accursed affliction? Yes. Do not worry, the veil in your mind will be lifted when you next meet your master, or so he said. Oh, this cannot come soon enough. I reply in a dreamy voice. Before I can embarrass myself further, Jimena turns around with a sad smile. You should not be too hasty. Not all knowledge is good to take. I am not good at this. Stay here while I bring Ainsa to safety. As you wait, I want you to remember that safe place you found. When you suffer from the thirst, or when you quench it, you may find it again. This is important, Ariane. If you must remember but one thing, remember this. I understand. Good. Jimena leaves and I am left alone. I can already feel that call of torpor even though I must have awakened not an hour ago. To distract myself, I inspect the training dummies. I am simply astonished when I realize that some of those are automatons. How wealthy must those lords and ladies be, that they can afford such intricate machinery for such a trivial task? I can only assume that they are from Europe, for duels are still a way to resolve a dispute among nobles. My musings are interrupted by the sound of the door opening and closing behind me. I turn from my inspection to greet a returning Jimena and instead recoil in surprise. There are now two people in the room, only a few steps from me, and I have never seen them in my life. How can they already be so close? It is impossible. Unless I blink. What was I thinking about? It matters not. There are people in front of me and I haven't greeted them yet. I curtsy, even though I do not wear a dress. Master told me to stop running to behave, and I shall do so. And I wait. The woman on the left is wearing a richly embroidered cream gown with green eyes and shockingly red hair. She is extremely beautiful, and both her aura and her posture remind me of Lady Moore. A younger Lady Moore at least. Perhaps a relative? The black-haired man on the right is dressed in an assorted cream jacket that went out of fashion a century ago, and yet I would never call him on it. With his chiseled jaw and handsome face, he would be at home as a Shakespearean actor in the fanciest theatres of London. His own aura is blander, yet similar to that of his companion. While she is sneering, he appears to be a victim of the most dire form of boredom. His blue eyes dismiss me almost immediately. I have not grown to the age of 19 without learning how to spot trouble. Whatever they want, I must delay it until Jimena returns without drawing their ire. And so, I remain silent. Time is on my side, and the newcomers know it too. The woman's sneer turns into a scowl as the first round goes to me. We came to see the latest spawn. Tell me, Spawn, do you even speak? Jimena, I beseech you, wherever you are, come back with all haste. Are you referring to me? Obviously. Who else do you see in this pathetic hovel? I must thread the needle between aggression and passivity. Too meek, and she will escalate. Too witty, and she will retaliate. I let silence draw as long as I dare before continuing. In case you were still waiting for an answer, yes, I can speak. Is that so surprising? It is. Lord Nirari seldom chooses them sharp, you see, he prefers to go for other attributes. What is it with everyone expecting me to be a simpleton? Although this time he may have made an exception. She says, eyeing me critically. Does she expect me to lose my composure so easily? Are you perhaps related to Lady Moore? It appears that I hit the mark. Her face freezes and her eyes turn calculating. The man's head turns to the door and he voices a warning. Melusan. She continues, unfazed. And why do you believe that? You have all the bark but none of the class. I could not resist, ha 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 ha. Oops. You dare. She was just waiting for an excuse. She moves, and I can see it. Something sings in my veins like the leftover of a good dream, and so, I move as well. I go to grab her backhand and manage to catch her fist. This was a terrible idea. She is not quite fast, but the strength behind her strike is unthinkable. I am launched through the air as if I weigh nothing. By chance, I manage to roll on the ground without hurting myself too much. Her power is truly inhuman. If her backhand had landed, I would have had to collect my molars from the farthest door. How can a slip of a girl like her? Wait, what was I thinking? I do not know. I know, however, that I am in danger. I grunt and pull myself on my knees. I somehow ended up between two of those automatons. Time is short, Melusan, says the man, as impassive as ever. Melusan strides towards me, wearing on her face the promise of pain. Their urgency must come from Jimena's imminent return. Therefore, I only need to stall for a few moments. I am, however, spent. This affliction has sapped my strength. My limbs are heavier than they were a minute ago. I will not be able to fight her. I will not be able to escape. In desperation, I do something that I can only attribute to my addled mind. I catch the side of the nearest automaton and pull its lever. At best, I was expecting the dummy to rotate and buy me a few moments. Instead, the unthinkable happens. A complex imprint flashes in the automaton's chest and basks it in crimson. It shudders and steps down from its wooden support, and then it stretches forearms ending in wicked blades. Its eyeless head finds the closest moving target, Melusan. I am too stunned to move. Sorcery. Sorcery of the vilest sort. I barely notice the man pulling his astonished companion behind himself, when the voice sweeps the room in one mighty roar. Hold. Jimena walks in with the confidence of a lioness. Her eyes find the dummy, which moved a bit forward for some reason and then settles on Melusan with an amused sneer. It is good to see Clan Lancaster attempt to remedy their abysmal lack of martial prowess. With that said, you could just have asked me instead of scurrying around the proving grounds like rats. Watch your mouth, Squire. I jump as both doors shut without any visible intervention. You should take your own advice. A heavy silence falls in the room as Jimena closes the distance with the two outsiders. Before she can reach them, the man takes a step forward and offers a formal bow. Squire Jimena, it appears that we have come here by mistake. Perhaps you would consent to open the door. Jimena stops and considers for a while. You will leave the fledgling alone while she is in my care. Very well. Is that all? After all of this, they are free to leave? We should cut their legs at the knees and make them crawl on their stumps. No, it is a perfectly reasonable outcome for this farce, and I am delighted to see the back of them. They leave without a word. I suppose I should start to train you to defend yourself. The woman sighs after the gates close. With all due respect, Jimena, I think not. I respectfully disagree. I need to understand who those people are, and the reason for their animosity. Why, when we first met, were you not goaded into attacking me by a Agate? Jimena flinches. You are correct, young Ariane. Ah, but I am bad at this. Where should I even begin? You could start by telling me why I am a fledgling and you a squire, and why does Lady Moore despise me so? Jimena stops to consider, then quickly nods in assent. Very well, but please bear in mind that I will remain intentionally vague, lest your mind obfuscates some of the information. I assume that I would be unable to learn more about the affliction until I meet my master once more. Indeed. Now, to begin. Newly turned, afflicted, start off as drones. They are mindless and pitiful creatures who only react to obey their masters' voices. Most remain in that sorry state for a few weeks at most. Others never move past it. I shiver in disgust. What a dreadful fate. When drones recover enough of a sense of self, they receive, their master assists them, and they become fledgling, as you are. A fledgling is essentially a young afflicted. Jimena, my dear, are you not mistaken? I have not yet received that help you mentioned. Am I still a drone? Yes, and no. Someone who has reconstituted a sense of self is always treated as a fledgling. Receiving help is but a formality. What if No, Ariane, do not think of it. Your master will assist you when the time has come. He told me to behave. And I did not roll over and bend to Lancaster curs. Worry not, Ariane. Thank you, Jimena. She graces me with one of her rare smiles. Ah, what a refreshing young lady, but let us continue. Once a fledgling is deemed an adult, after a few after some time did Jimena almost say decades. Surely my ears deceive me, I would not want to wait until my hair grows gray to emancipate. Not that it matters, as soon as I may, I shall go home. They become courtiers. This title is earned by the grace of their clan and is universally recognized by the others. Those two from before, Melusan and Lambert, are courtiers. Those who, master their affliction become masters. Masters do not need the recognition of their clans. Their rank is obvious. Masters who control a territory are often called lords. Above them are the clan sovereigns and their councils, and we will address this later. What about squires? Ah yes. Knights are the military arms of the clans. They are trained and deployed by a separate order and enjoy some measure of autonomy. Squires are knights in training, as well as disgraced knights. Jimena looks at me expectantly. I can tell this is a test of my personality. I have known the woman for only 2 days, and I can already tell that she is honest and straightforward, perhaps a bit too straightforward. When Agate, and later Melusan addressed you as squire, they meant it as a slight, did they not? Correct. They riled me up on purpose and I fell for it. She steps forward and I recoil. My reaction hurts her, I can tell. Jimena, I am sorry, Do not apologize, Ariane. I raised my hand against you yesterday. I only have myself to blame for your apprehension. I shall now explain to you why your situation is so precarious. Where to begin? We are currently in Louisiana. I have not been moved to a forsaken corner of the earth, at least. This region has changed hands quite a few times. As a result, a smattering of people now live here, the original Chitimacha, Choctaw and Coushatta, the French and Canadian French, the Spaniards, Africans and now the Anglos. Usually, clans do not mix, and those unique circumstances have required some level of adjustment. You see, clans are quite territorial. I almost scoff at the thought. Why would diseased people be territorial, and why include savages and slaves in the decision process? Unthinkable. The clans who call this place theirs have gathered to negotiate spheres of influence. There were to be four: the Cadiz, the Lancaster, the Roland and the Econ clans of Spanish, English, French and Guinean Gulf origin, respectively. You include slaves in your discussions? I scoff. Something flashes in Jimena's expression. Ah yes, I forgot to mention. We, afflicted, do not care for each other's skin color. You would be well to remember it. Well, how very progressive of you. You will understand why, in due time. For now, I expect you to treat others with respect, no matter their race and gender. It is for your own good. Understood, Jimena. I will do as she asks. I am to obey her in all things. The issue comes from your master. Lord Nirari is your sponsor, so to speak. You are affiliated with him no matter what. Jimena leads me to a comfortable bench and holds my hands. I find the gesture quite touching coming from the Amazon woman. Lord Nirari is not unlike the sovereign of a clan. He is a bit of a rogue, and his arrival was unexpected. Nevertheless, he was welcomed with utmost courtesy. You see, insulting him is considered an exotic form of suicide. My face must reflect my astonishment, for Jimena decides to explain a bit more. Your master's way is that of the ancients. He deems the rules of hospitality sacred, yet every slight is met with ruthless vengeance. He is universally feared and reviled, and his reputation reflects on you. What? I interrupt, scandalized. He is a beast of very soul of kindness. A gentleman of refinement. How dare they slander him so? Jimena does not interrupt my ranting. Instead she looks at me with pity. How I wish I could convince her. Nevertheless, his reputation is well established, and he is known for, not caring about the fate of his protégés. Jimena, I am so confused. Does he have a clan, or not? Do I? Well, he is just known as the Devourer, and to my knowledge only one of his spawns, besides you, still lives. You are the third member of his line. What? I am sorry, Ariane, your legacy will always be known. Lord Nirari's afflicted are quite distinctive. Her attention flickers to my mouth. I do not understand. This makes no sense at all. You will, in time. I am sorry. I am too astonished to reply. None of this makes sense. A mysterious disease. Clans and politics? A clan of 3. Jimena, please, tell me the truth. Am I hysterical? Is this some asylum where the mad are left to live their insanity? Ariane, believe me, you are not insane. I am not insane. This is a difficult time for you, yet if you are tenacious, and if you display a better political acumen than my own, I am confident that you will thrive. Thrive? I do not want to thrive. I want to go home. I just want to go home. I try to hold it, but despite my best efforts I start crying. Ariane. Yes? May I? May I please drink your tears? Nothing that happens in this madhouse can surprise me anymore. I nod in assent, then yelp as Jimena pulls me in her embrace. Before I can react, she licks my cheeks. How daring. We stay there. I would be otherwise offended at her familiarity, and yet I realize how much I owe her. If what she says is true, and I have no reasons to doubt her words, then my master is a bit of a pariah. Our acquaintance taints her reputation. Her honesty and loyalty are costing her, and yet she defended me. I can only be thankful that I met her. For an afflicted, you cry a lot. Oh, shush. I feel so comfortable in her arms. I was already tired before my confrontation with that horrible harridan, and now my entire body feels so heavy. I believe I shall take a quick nap. Just a few minutes. Chapter 4. The last harmonies of the hymn wash over the pews and the many attendants. The Mass is in full swing now, and I can feel that I am a part of something greater than myself as people from all origins unite with one purpose. I take a deep breath. The church smells like dust and incense, and a unique mix of perfume and sweat that humanity brought here. The morning sun kisses the little skin I show. I am, after all, in my Sunday best. Vanity might be a sin, but how I do love that blue dress I wear. It suits me so much. Papa stands next to me, and I can tell he is looking at the others, acting as my guard. The young men who stare will be noted and he will tell me of it. Those who stare too much will be reprimanded later. A smiling old man in the black cassock of the Catholic priest steps in front of us. His genuine smile makes my heart lighter. Father Armand's homilies are always so wise and pertinent, much better than that priest from Mobile. What a bore that man was, always screaming about eternal damnation and witches. Welcome, everyone, welcome to Mass. I am so pleased to see all of you today. With Easter coming soon, I was about to make my sermon about the dangers of gluttony and overindulgence. Alas, I received yesterday a meat pie from Mrs. Cantrell, and you all know how I abhor hypocrisy. I chuckle, like most people present. So, I will talk instead about something far less pleasant, I'm afraid. It has come to my attention that there have been some scuffles with Mr. Sutton's parish members over the question of religion. The mood turns grim. Why, I can barely blame you for being confused. I remember myself a loyal subject of King Louis XV going out to hunt a pesky snapdragon, and when I came back, I was Spanish. Once more, we chuckle, the old priest playing us like a fiddle. I do not mind terribly. He is a good man. I go make some tea, and I am French again, muchas gracias. The Spanish members of the congregation laugh harder, possibly due to Father Armand's atrocious pronunciation. And now we have been sold to the United States of America by Napoleon himself. Why, it is no wonder we are all at a loss. I now own more flags than shirts and have considered turning ones into the others. Heh? Yes. And so it is that our parish now harbors quite a few Protestants. There are more than a few grumbles at the mention of those heretics. And yet I ask you this. When Jesus debated with the Pharisees or the Sadducees, did he punch them in the face? Did he throw manure at their women? The grumble dies on the spot and quite a few faces redden in shame. No, he did not, for he knew that all should have a chance to hear the word of God. We must all remember that we are Christians not because of who we oppose, but because of who we love. I will have no more of this. Instead, you will love thy neighbor as is ordered in the Holy Scriptures, for the Protestants are not your enemies, merely people who walk a different path. Nay, the true enemies are demon-worshipping sluts like Ariane here. W. What? You moaned and squirmed under the beast like a wanton whore. He took you on the first night and you enjoyed every second of it. Neither Sodom nor Gomorrah ever witnessed such a shameful display of lust. What? No. You're mistaken. Papa. Tell them. I should have drowned you the day you were born. Look at what you've become. You cannot even stand here. Smoke erupts from my now blood-stained gown and fire soon follows. I try to run but I am blinded. I fall against a wooden bench and the contact sears my hand. It hurts so much. I roll on the ground, screaming in agony. Angry whispers surround me as the congregation watches me die. Here, Katin, this should help. Father Armand throws water on me but it does not stop the fire. I vanish in a flash of blue light and an ear-piercing shriek. I open my eyes to green sheets and a bedpost made out of a reddish wood I have never seen before. Another day, another room, and I remember that this is no home. I am, at best, an unwilling guest in a gilded cage. I still savor the moment. I only have a few minutes of lucidity, of peace, before it comes. The thirst. I do not know much about this affliction. I feel that every time I am told more, The ideas flee through my mind like through a sieve. Jimena told me that all will be made clear tomorrow when I meet him again, and I do hope it will be so. It cannot be healthy to remain in such a fugue state for an extended period. I go through my new morning ritual while the craving grows in me. It is a strange thing. The thirst is not limited to the throat and mouth. It digs in my chest, my belly, and my mind with its needy claws. Every line of thought is derailed, and my feet carry me to the door whenever my attention fails. No, this cannot last. I find another gray set, the same as yesterday. It is again quite tight around the hips, and I suspect I am wearing one of Jimena's spare sets. As I finish, someone knocks on my door. As I move to unlock it, I pause. What if it is not my improvised tutor, but the Lancaster shrew and her stooge? They promised to leave me be. They also did not strike me as people of their words, and they are not the only ones who would do me harm. It is at this moment that I notice that there is a tiny glass window, no bigger than a thumbnail at the door. I look through it and lo and behold, I can see who is outside with all clarity. It must be some sort of magnifying glass, or a short telescope, mayhap. I thought running water in every room was a luxury, until now. Why, if their lavatories were encrusted with diamonds, I would not be surprised. Speaking of lavatories, why have I not? What was I thinking about? Another knock on the door, more insistent this time, wakes me up from my reverie. I unlock it and greet Jimena. Forgive me, dear friend, for my mind is as muddled as ever, and I do pray you brought something to drink. I am parched. And a good day to you too, Ariane, she replies with a smile. This is Ricardo, another retainer for Clan Cadiz. She says, and only now do I notice another man. He is dressed well but soberly. He is tall, with brown eyes and curly brown hair, and looks at me not unkindly. I greet him politely, which he returns. Buenas tardes, señorita. Jimena then bids me let them both in, which is I suppose acceptable since Jimena could be considered a chaperone. After that comes some more meditation, and when we leave, Ricardo stays behind. I feel refreshed and the thirst releases its hold on me. Lord Cerrone requested your presence. He is the local head of Clan Cadiz, and we should attend him now. What? Jimena, surely you jest. This attire. I dare not criticize too much since she gave it to me so graciously. However, trousers are indecent, particularly those that are, well, so very tight around the hips. Jimena notices my discomfort and smiles knowingly while addressing my concerns. Fret not, young one. Gray is the color of the night order, and by wearing it you are distancing yourself from the court. You are claiming neutrality and impartiality, and this can only help you. I ponder her words in silence. You surprise me, Jimena. This is a well-thought statement. Well, I am not so oblivious to the vicissitudes of the afflicted politics. I usually ignore them. Recent events have forced me to reassess my priorities. I suspect that it has to do with her fall from grace and tactfully refrain from asking. In short order, we reach the edge of the many apartments to another set of doors. It appears that each level contains a square of individual living quarters surrounded on each side by waiting rooms where visitors may gather. How many floors does this building have? And why are there no windows? I ask. Only 5 floors if you count the basement as one. That said, you have seen but one wing of the fortress. There is more on this level than you have had the opportunity to visit. As for the lack of windows, it is for the sake of safety. You will. Yes, I will understand in time. One more night and all will be made clear. She opens the door to a large boudoir. Comfortable seats are gathered in small groups, and other reflected in finery is mingled there. We ignore them and reach yet another door. Jimena knocks and, without waiting for an answer, gets in. We enter an antechamber of modest size. The furniture and decorations are of the same Baroque style as everything else I have seen since leaving the dungeon. This place has been designed for people to stay, not to live. An oaken chest in a corner convinces me that the sole occupant of this place shares my status as a guest, although he might be doing it willingly. A man sits at a work desk facing the entrance. He calmly puts down his pen and rises to welcome us. He is, without a doubt, on the same level as Lady Moore. His aura pressures my mind, and while it lacks sophistication, there is a solidity to it that reflects his physique. The Cadiz clan lord has cornflower blue eyes, like my own, and black curls that reach his muscular shoulders. His facial features are virile and elegant and complemented by a roguish beard and mustache. Why, he must have stepped out of some pirate tale, ready to plunder and ravish. I am pleased to see, however, that his gaze is calculating as opposed to overly hostile. Once he reaches us, I curtsy, partly to hide my surprise. This man is muscular beyond compare. I believe Agata has nothing on him, and that he could bend metal with his bare hands. Are all Cadiz clan members so dedicated to physical prowess? Rise. I do so and stay silent as the man takes my measure. Greetings, Ariane. I am Lord Cerrone of Clan Cadiz, and I welcome you to my humble abode. The pleasure is mine, Lord Cerrone. The man smiles wryly and turns to Emina. It is as you said, Squire. In his mouth, the rank of Squire becomes praise for past achievements rather than an insult, and I can tell that Emina is grateful. Tell me, Ariane, has my quartermaster explained the situation to you? She told me of the council and my master's unexpected arrival. I see. Has she explained your role in this? My role? Lord Cerrone just chuckles. As expected of our Jimena. I wager her first answer was to put a blade in your hand. Jimena hisses playfully and crosses her arm under his teasing rebuke. Lord Nirari always holds his word and respects a few rules with unerring consistency, yet he is otherwise quite infamous. You make it sound like he has committed atrocities, yet I do believe I would have heard of them in the news as he looks barely a day above 40. Lord Cerrone's eyes flicker to Jimena before he continues. You would be surprised, young Ariane. He is much older than he looks, and he has traveled extensively over the mill over the years. I think you have realized that our world is apart from the mundane one. Afflicted are kept secret, and in our society, he has earned quite the reputation, which makes his visit even more unusual. This land is remote. We who reside here have not come, we have been sent. For someone of his stature to be here and to make his presence known, he must be after something. This conclave started 3 days ago and is set to conclude tomorrow. Yes, I am aware of Lord Nirari's promise. I quite assure you, that no nascent fledgling is ever left without receiving their master's blessing. You can look forward to the ceremony without trepidation. I was not worried, but I certainly am now. What happens if I do not? Lord Cerrone seems temporarily at a loss, so Jimena takes my hand and continues in a reassuring voice. Eventually the stress on the fledgling's mind becomes too much and they revert to drones. Rest assured though, barring a major catastrophe it shall certainly not occur. Yes, Ariane, all will be fine. I should not even have mentioned it. Let us focus on the main topic if you will, and the reason for your presence here. You see, Lord Nirari requested our hospitality and we granted it. On the second night, he spent quite some time with Lady Moore, and we suspect she is the reason for his presence, or rather, her property is. Lady Moore manages the local ship trading for the Lancaster, and to our knowledge, she is the only one with the means to provide him with passage back to the Middle East, or wherever it is he wants to travel to. Can't he not arm his own ship? Surely a man of his stature would not be without coin. That is not the issue. Transporting us across vast distances requires specific logistics. It is both easier and safer to reach an agreement with Lady Moore, rather than create a way by oneself. I have so many questions. I know, he says with a smile, and I am sorry. Now, as I mentioned, Lord Nirari is our guest, and as such he will not force Lady Moore into serving him, and so he needed a bargaining chip. You. Me? Yes. As the only person able to help him, Lady Moore has a monopoly and finds herself under no obligation to hasten the discussions. Quite the contrary. Lord Nirari is believed to be affluent. Very, very affluent. She could use it to leverage her position, and that is where you come in. I do not follow. What do you know about your master's other protégés? Everyone expects me to be some raving lunatic with barely the ability to speak. Both caddies chuckled before my outraged face. Ah, but it is good to be with polite company, although I would not call Lord Cerrone a friend. Quite so. The Devourer has, had quite a few protégés in the past. He cares little for them and has used them as tools more often than not. They were not me. As soon as we get acquainted, my master will have no choice but to see that I am the one who should run away for him. When needed, he reared them into psychopathic maniacs who he then let loose. They ravaged entire parishes before they could be stopped. W. What? No, they must be wrong. This is nonsense. An individual alone would never be able to. I would have heard about. He would never. What was I thinking about? I blink. Jimena signals to Lord Cerrone, and he graces me with an apologetic smile. Forgive me, I forgot myself. Suffice to say that you are a sort of Damocles that hangs over Lady Moore's head, and leave it at that. I don't see how. Jimena clasps my hand between hers. I forgot how cool and soft they could be. Trust me on this, he is saying the truth. I am a sort of Damocles hanging over Lady Moore's head. I see. Good. Lord Nirari uses your existence as an incentive to push the negotiation forward. He is under no obligation to limit the damages you could inflict according to his own twisted sense of honor. Lord Cerrone sits back and spreads his hands. The implications for you are twofold. The first is that you will be under intense scrutiny while here, and most opinions will be, hostile. The second one is, that should everything proceed as we think it will, you will be left at Clan Lancaster's mercy. What? But, this is horrible. They hate me. Can you? I am ashamed to beg you thus, but could you do something? Alas, no. We have no justifiable way to claim you. The best outcome for you is to serve under them. Best outcome? Surely you jest, or you underestimate their scorn. They attack me ruthlessly. And with little provocation. I would be a fool to put myself at their mercy. I answer, dejected. It was a test of your character. Melusan and Lambert are Lady Moore's only competent subordinates. They were sent there to assess you while someone else was delaying Jimena. Thankfully, they were quite bad, and she saw through their awkward attempt. The short time they had to see you should work in your favor. Melusan will want to keep you alive out of curiosity if nothing else. They leave me a few seconds to gather my thoughts. So, my master will not take me with him? There is not a chance, although I know you will try anyway. If you wish to live, you will plan accordingly, and I know the way to do so. Tell me, Ariane, what is it that you want? I want this to never have happened, but I know it is wishful thinking. Jimena told me to believe her, and that this disease is no cure. Then, what I desire most is, I want to go home to my friends and family. I want to walk along the fields of sugarcane in the morning light with whatever pet I have that I cannot remember. I want to open a distillery and bring wealth to my family. I want to bag an egret in one shot and eat its meat grilled over charcoal. I just want this insanity to stop. I am too close to crying again, and I refuse to do so in front of the local head of the Cadiz clan. My passionate declamation only stuns my hosts into silence. I hope they do not find me whiny and pathetic, but I comfort myself in the certitude that I have cause to be a little dramatic. Some unspoken message passes between them until Lord Cerrone finally returns his focus on our conversation. If going home is your fondest wish, we will do our best to grant you the opportunity to do so. This will be a difficult task, however, and you will need to make it worth our while. How mercenary of you! I reply, scandalized. I have obligations towards my own clan, and one of them is to protect its members and make sure its resources are well used. You ask me to risk people and funds to rescue a stranger. I thought I was asking a personal request. It will take more than the two of us, Ariane. I am sorry. I hold my head between my hands, trying to come to terms with my circumstances. Eventually, I calm down enough to ask the Lord his terms. Very well, then what would you ask of me? While you are with them, look for information on their business activities. Inventories, deeds and titles. We can use the information. You expect me to spy for you? Yes. I assure you that those mongrels do not deserve your loyalty. It is not that. Spying is just so distasteful. Precisely. Trust me, after tomorrow, you will change your perspective on the matter. Very well, I shall do what I can, even though I fear you may be overestimating me. After a few pleasantries, Jimena and I leave the Cadiz enclave, and she drags me to her proving grounds to teach me the basics of fencing, including posture and how to hold a blade. I successfully learn a few things before sleep takes me. Chapter 5. Aunt Catherine. Ma petite chérie, I am so glad to see you. I rush down the stairs and embrace her. She returns the hug, then steps back and inspects me with a serious face and smiling eyes. MHHH, but how you have grown. Any bigger and we shall have to trim you a bit. Not funny. I reply laughing. I am 13, and when I turn 20 all of you will have to look up to me. I shall overcome even Papa. Perish the thought. She answers. Your appetite would bankrupt us all. We chuckle for a while until her expression grows serious. I feel extremely awkward as I am now convinced of the reason for her presence, even more so because she left my cousins at home. We need to have a talk, goddaughter, one that requires privacy. Should we retire to your room? Very well. I would like to pout and protest, but I'm a woman now and need to show patience and restraint. I lead her up the stairs to my room and claim the bed while she takes a chair. How I wish Diana could see you now, she would be so proud. I am instantly saddened. I am sorry, my chérie, I did not mean to make you sad. It is fine, we both miss her. Yes, and this makes it even worse. How I regret it, what I have to do. Dear aunt, you exaggerate. I know discussing lady issues are a tad delicate. Not that, this. Her hands grip my throat and she pushes me into the mattress. I cannot breathe. I struggle and fight, but she is so much bigger and stronger. My sharp nails dig into her arms to no avail. Red tears of regret mar her cheeks and her mouth distends to show serrated fangs. Oh my God. I panic even more, but already darkness creeps upon my sight. I am sorry, chérie, this is the only way. He will claim your soul otherwise. I am so sorry, my chérie. So sorry. I grow more frantic in my struggle. Her fingers dig into my skin, draw blood until the pressure is too much. The pain becomes intolerable, and with one grisly crack, my cervical bones shatter. Something is wrong. What? Who? I cannot think properly, everything seems distended and cloudy. I feel the urge to just stay there, and wait, but I know something is wrong. It smells like fire. The thought of fire horrifies me, a visceral reaction of such intensity that it forces me up. I don't know what to do. No, focus, this has happened before. My name is Ariane. I am my own. Slowly, painfully, my psyche stitches itself back together, fraying at the edge. Holding my mind together is like holding sand, and I know I need something. I desperately need it. The thirst hits me like a rock. I bend forward and grip my stomach. Oh God, it hurts. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need to find my master. He promised. Then we will leave this forsaken place together. Yes. But first I need to find him now. I pull myself together and just walk to the door, carefully opening it. The smells hit me first. Wood smoke. Gunpowder. Blood. Excrements. The corridor is deserted but for two unmoving forms. The first one is a servant in a maid outfit. Her hands clasp a deep wound in her chest. They are so coated in red that she looks like she is wearing scarlet gloves. She is also quite dead. Tears trail down her face from half-lidded eyes. The other one is a man in a black leather overcoat. His clothes are military without being a uniform I recognize. I see no wound on him, but he is lying in a pool of his own blood, also dead. I feel nothing. A distant part of me screams that this is not right, that I have seen bodies before but never like this. I care not. The man is holding a gun, a pistol of good make with silver embroidery. I get closer and see that it is discharged. A basic inspection yields silvery bullets and a powder horn, which I take. I reload the weapon and cock it. The woman took a bullet wound. Whoever attacked this place, they care not for unarmed women. They did not even have the grace to give her mercy, instead choosing to let her suffer atrociously before she drew her last breath. I will not have the same fate. I have not come this far to fall to some brutish lout. I need to flee the building. The smell of fire worries me. I dare not find Jimena, for if I know the woman, she will be in the heart of the battle if she still lives. Fortunately, I know where to go. We are in one of the wings of the fortress and the exit should be on the ground level of the wing, quite close to the entrance to the dungeon. I am quite certain that there are hidden ways given the builder's strange tastes, but I am not inclined to look for them. I would rather risk a blockade. The thirst is killing me. I go down one floor with all the patience I can manage and stop when something peculiar hits me. This is the floor where I first slept and the door to my first room has been broken open. Only one other room had its entrance forced. Are they hunting the residents? If so, how did they know where to find me? I reach the ground level and slow down. If the mysterious assailants are still around, this is where I will find them. As I finish this thought, a few footsteps echo from a nearby hallway and I hear Agate's distinctive voice. Incompetent, I would never have agreed to this. How many men do you need to? Relieved, I step out of an alcove as Agate comes into view, taking care to hide my pistol at my back in case he proves himself to be too nervous. A gravelly voice retorts, but I barely pay attention until his two companions step into view. Both of them look like hard men. The older one has deep claw scars on one side of his face, barely missing his black eyes. The second one is much younger, with red hair and a sharp look. Both of them wear the black overcoat of the intruders, enough weapons to start a small conflict and unexplainably, silver crosses. We all freeze at the sight of each other. I understand immediately. Traitor. I turn to run and Agate moves. I will never make it in time. And that is fine. A part of me that I do not recognize rises to the surface of my being. There is barely enough of me left to direct it, and yet it is enough. I move as well. Just as the edge of his blade kisses my neck, I lift the firearm and pull the trigger. Point-blank range. A child could not miss. Agate is so surprised at the sight of the muzzle, that I see his mouth form an O an instant before it is blown away. I am not done. The two men instantly pulled guns and are now firing. I grab Agate's body and use it as a shield. Two dull impacts make his chest shiver as I rush forward. I am barely thinking, something is taking over and I let it. I will live. I will live. And so they must die. Agate's body flies through the air to the older man, who tries to dodge to the side. A pointless endeavor. The warrior's body is too massive and the corridor too tight. With a grunt, he falls. So thirsty? With a high-pitched scream, I rush at the redhead until a flash of silver makes me dodge. Something flies over my shoulder. The corridor's tightness now plays against me and I move to avoid another one. My foe anticipates it and a third something stabs into my arm with a flash of blinding pain. A knife? I hiss and barely manage to endure it. He is close, so close. Something glows white and I am propelled backward by an implacable force. Swatted like an insect, I bounce on the floor. No. No, this cannot be. I am too thirsty. I need it. I need it. I manage to stagger back up in time to find the young man taking out another pistol from a recess in his vest and aim it at me. As he fires it, I throw my own discharged firearm. It impacts his shoulder as he shoots, and a massive hole opens in the wall next to me. I need to get closer, but I can't. What to do? Oh, of course. I rush forward once more as the man takes out a smaller pistol from yet another pocket. How many does he even have? This time he waits calmly for me to approach. When I am but a few feet away, I pull the knife from my arm and throw it at him. I care not about the pain. I only care about the deliverance he will offer me. My awkward throw sends the flat of the blade to impact his nose, and it breaks his concentration. As he recoils from the pain, I manage to move around him. I grab his neck with 2 fingers and push him down. At the same time, I bring one of his arms back and bite. Ah, yes. Or no. This isn't close to what I had before. It simply will not do. I cannot take it in. It barely dulls the edge. I need more. I need him. I need it from him. What? Nothing makes sense anymore. Somebody cackles like a maidwoman. Me. I stand up and grab a dagger. Ignoring everything else, I follow my nose to a draft of fresh air I feel. The air is tainted by smoke, but this is the way out. I know it. I will live. In a daze, I leave the 3 bodies behind and walk past corpses of servants and soldiers, as well as one inexplicable pile of ash, to the scene from a battlefield. A broken-down barricade stands not 10 meters from a half-collapsed wall. I count more than a dozen bodies of both sides strewn about, including a few women and quite the assortment of weapons. It looks like the invaders stormed it and left no one alive. As I pass the barricade, the reason for their anger lies before me. The entrance to this wing of the fortress has been blown open, yet the wall partly collapsed, creating a choke point, and corpses of the invaders litter the ground. Even in my dazed state, I am stunned by the extent of the destruction I am witnessing. What manner of fanatics would throw their lives away like this? What would justify such determination, or such hatred? I cross the door and find trails of drying blood. Recent. Someone dragged their wounded out. So thirsty? I stumble forward and find myself in a massive hall the size of a cathedral. The walls are natural. Is this some sort of cave? Another set of doors faces me. The cave goes up to my left, but the draft comes from my right. I walk in that direction. This place is empty but for the dead. A handful of oil lamps provides enough illumination to see clearly. This hall is barren, and its sole purpose seems to be to instill a sense of majesty or dread. I cannot tell. I quickly reach a set of massive stairs when 2 forms step down from it. I did not hear them at all. The first one is a bearded blond man with pale gray eyes and a blue overcoat who frowns at my sight. The second one elicits a gasp of surprise from me. I have seen many slaves and freemen, hailing from Haiti or the continent. They always have something about them while in the presence of many white folks. Sometimes it is fear, sometimes respect, and quite often it is defiance, but what they all have in common is that they never let their guard down. Not this man. Dressed in a beige leather ensemble and quite visibly armed, he has a sarcastic smirk on his face that shows that he fears no one. Bar master and my father, he is also the tallest man I have ever seen. The 2 newcomers are followed by brown-haired twin men and a black woman, respectively. All of them exude the same cold aura I now attribute to afflicted, with the first 2 men being on par with Lady Moore and Lord Saron. I need to go up. I need to break through. No. They're stronger. I cannot leave. The blond man steps towards me, and before I can react, he moves faster than I can think and my vision turns white. Ah. One moment I am looking forward, the next I am held above ground by 5 sharp things digging in my stomach. The pain is unbearable, and the tenuous hold I had on my mind finally breaks. It is too much. I stay there, unmoving. I don't have to struggle. I don't have to breathe. Moving just means more pain. Better to stay and wait. Focus on fighting the fog. the last dregs of consciousness I can hold to. If I let go, it is over. I know it in my soul. As I drift in and out, I can hear fragments of conversation. Clear as day. Someone betrayed us and we know it cannot be a cattle. Raving imbecile. She has been one of us for 4 days, while this raid is weeks in the making. Cannot trust his spawn. I knew it was a mistake to bring her back up, or we will never know. She fed and is still degenerating. She's almost too far gone. Somehow, we are going up. We reach another grand entrance, this one made of wood. We walk through the burnt husk of a mansion. We walk through a garden. We are outside. Finally, something shakes me from my torpor and I let out a weak moan. It's him. My salvation. His mere presence stitches more of me back together. Enough to follow what happens. The blond man throws me on the ground. I curl up around my belly. I fight off the pain. I can do nothing else. I will live. I just need a few more minutes, and Master will save me. Just a little bit longer. Back so soon? Don't play coy, Lord Nirari, I am wise to your schemes. I really doubt that, little Gaspard, you do not even have enough fingers to count them all. So you admit that this is your doing? What is? This attack on us. You come here and not a week goes by and we are assaulted. You expect me to believe this is a coincidence? Or it could be because of the long-awaited conclave. I would explain Occam's razor and confirmation bias to you, Gaspard, but I lack the patience and crayons to do so. Oh. Enough, Lord Gaspard. If we want to know more, we have but to ask the lass. Lord Nirari. I admit that I am curious as well. Master grabs my neck. I do not need to see him to know it. His touch makes my body lax. Even the pain and the thirst fade. I find myself looking into his face. Ah, those handsome features. This kingly presence. His noble beard. His 8 fangs. Ariane. Oh, my name on his lips. I am undone. I find myself smiling like a witless maiden. I love him so much. Answer me. The world gradually disappears as my body relaxes completely. The world fades away and at the same time, I regain perfect clarity. Never since my awakening in this dark cell have I felt so focused. What did I ask of you when we first met? Do not speak unless spoken to, address you as master, behave, obey Jimena in all things. Have you spoken without leave? No, master. Have you addressed me as anything but master? No, master. Have you obeyed Jimena in all things? Yes, master. Have you behaved? I think so. Yes, master. We shall see. Ask your questions, Lord Akon, and I shall relay them to her. His attention goes to someone else. No. Look at me. He turns back to me. Yes. When did you wake up? I do not know, maybe 15 minutes ago? At sunset then. Do you know of the raid on our fortress? Yes. Did you help the assailants in any way, at any time? No. There is some commotion outside. After a while, he asks me more. Little Gaspard here thinks we were betrayed. What do you think, little one? I agree. Another commotion. Master looks pleasantly surprised. Oh. And why do you think so? I saw a Gade walk with 2 of the invaders. They were talking. This time the commotion is quite loud. Tell us about it. As I relay the encounter to Master, his smile grows wider and more malevolent until he laughs. The sinister sound sets my stomach aflutter. Ah, young Ariane, you have brought me something I would not have expected to find in this forsaken corner of the world, entertainment. Jimena, did my spawn behave properly? A pause. Very well then, I declare that you upheld your end of the bargain. I am pleasantly surprised by this outcome. It is not every decade that someone manages to elate me so. As promised, you may draw my essence. May it be everything you hoped for. He slowly drags me up to the crook of his neck. I do not understand what he wants until he places my mouth against his soft skin. My mouth instinctively opens and he lets himself be touched. I feel something thick and syrupy pass through my parted lips. Time stops. Even if one day I forget my name, even if I live 1,000 years, even if I am robbed of every last shred of sanity I have, I shall never forget the moment I taste this essence. I will go on blessed by the experience and cursed by the knowledge that nothing will ever compare. Words escape me. I die at pleasure 1,000 times. The wave of agony and bliss burns through me again and again, lasting both an instant and an eternity, and I am carried on it helplessly. After a while, visions like fleeting dreams appear to me. I am in a chariot pulled by 2 horses. I let loose an arrow that flies true and buries itself in a man's throat. My first kill, one of many. A foreign princess prostrates herself before me, the blood of her brother still staining her dress. I utter a few words. With tears of humiliation rolling on her face, she unclasps the gown. It smoothly falls from her golden shoulders. I stand up. An older woman sits at the heart of an intricate garden. Her beauty and wisdom are legends. She is writing an intricate spell on a square of tanned human skin. When she hears me, she looks up and smiles. I lie on a bed stained with my sweat and blood. My hands grip the hole in my gut. The stench is nauseating. The same woman leans against me with a sad smile. She tenderly brushes my hair back. Her other hand brings a vial of black liquid to my lips and I swallow it. I pull away with a gasp before the blazing potency makes me burn from within. My fraying mind is reforged at its sharpest and coldest. The power courses through me and invades every organ. I absorb it like a woman dying of thirst. I remember. My name is Ariane Lucille Beatrice Raynaud. I have a father and an older brother. Family, friends, hopes and dreams. I came to New Orleans with my best friend for a short stay. I intended to talk to an acquaintance at a ball and met Master here. He. No. No. No 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 no. No. What have you done to me, you? You. The monster laughs. He is filled with mirth. No. This cannot be, it is a nightmare. No. I refuse to. No. It's. What have you done? What am I? Why? So much anger, little one, do you hate me? Do you? How can I hate him when I love him so much and I hate him so much and love him so much and... No, master. No? Then are you happy? Ha ha ha, tears. How very precious. No? Was it not your desire? How? How dare you? You violated me, killed me, turned me into this. His hand slides from my neck to my throat. Erg. Tut tut, I will have no mouth from you, little one. After everything I have done for you. He smiles disarmingly. You were so precious, a little peasant girl who dared approach me, as if we were equal. You even addressed me first, introduced yourself freely. I wanted to tear you apart limb by limb for your insolence, but then you started talking. So many projects, so many dreams. This drive, this passion, I was so touched. You reminded me of someone I knew long ago. Like you, she reached above her station, however, she succeeded. Her deeds inspired a whole civilization. You were like her. You wanted it all, and you even wanted me. You asked me if I was married. Such presumption, such hubris. I had to see it through. So here you are, little one, like me, a vampire. Free of the constraints of this barely civilized corner of the world. You can live forever. Time will not wither your beauty, nor will it dull your wit. You can get it all, and you can even get me. Show me how far you can overreach, little Ariane. Show me that I did not waste my blood and my seed on yet another failure. You will not get away with this, Goo. God? Did you want to say God? There is only one God left for us. Look up. Despite my best efforts, I raise my eyes to the sky above. So beautiful. A canopy of light and darkness. A canvas where some divine artist threw lights and shades of colors in some unfathomable pattern. I never knew the heavens could be so breathtaking, and I would stare and wonder were it not for a new celestial body. Twisted clouds and roots of baleful purple enshrine an eye of black sclera and a slitted red pupil. It is absolutely massive. It dwarfs even the moon. The sky has a gigantic eye. A demonic cat eye and a purple crown. I stare, speechless. It stares back. I want to close my eyes, but I cannot, for Master bid me look. Sheer terror courses through my mind. It is alive. I feel a presence. Welcome to your journey of black and red, little one, Master says. May it be everything you hoped for. Tope continued, thanks for listening.